For those of you who have just joined us after closed session, which would be everybody in the room, I am Jeff Conwell, Board President. I'd like to introduce my fellow trustees, Maria Haug, Lisa Pelosi, Jeannie Kerr, Julio Olguin, and joining us tonight is our student representative, Mr. Joe Browdy. Welcome all. I'd like to introduce our district staff, Superintendent Dr. Mary Lou Wilson, Chief Business Official, Ms. Andy Stubbs, Chief Academic and Human Resources Officer, Mr. Christopher Heller, Executive Assistant to the Chief Academic, and Ms. Erica Stubbs. Thank you very much. We're delighted you're here this evening in person or viewing on Channel 27, the new YouTube channel. A copy of the board meeting video will also be available at our website, www.stelenaunified.org. In connection with item B, connection with item A, the board received information and provided staff with direction. In connection with item B, I would like to entertain a motion not to appeal the 2019 STRS audit findings. Is there a second?
I'll second.
As many are in favor of the motion, the name is called. Answer aye. So once again, aye is if you will not appeal the STRS audit, and opposed would be no. Dr. Wilson, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Trustee Olguin?
Aye.
Trustee Kerr? Aye. Trustee Pelosi?
Aye.
Trustee Haug?
Aye.
Current President Conwell?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Motion is carried. Please stand and join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This brings me to item number 6, which is public comment on open session items. And at this point, if anybody would like to comment on an item that is not on the agenda tonight. Okay. That takes us to item 7 under presentations, recognition of the student athlete as a California Interscholastic Federation, or CIF, state champion. Mr. Heller, please.
Great. Thank you. Good evening. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to the board and the community 3 of our participants or representatives to the California Interscholastic Cross Country Championship. So I'd like to call up at this time Coach Sarah Hurdell, Senior Jordan Riley, and Junior Harper McLean to the podium, please. I have a little intro, and then we'll give you an opportunity to speak, so thank you. First, qualifying for the state championships in Woodward Park in November is an incredible honor for any participant, and that means that they had a high finish in our local North Coast section cross-country championships. Most schools and districts would be very honored with just that accomplishment of qualifying for the state event, and this is the first time that St. Helena has had 2 Saints runners qualify and go to state, so that in itself is an accomplishment and an honor. Jordan finished 58th out of 202 runners in the state Division 5 race, and his time was 17 minutes and 2.8 seconds. He's the first male participant at the state level since 2006. Harper won the state Division 5 title by an incredible 44.9 seconds. Her time was 17 minutes and 3 seconds, which is a state Division 5 record. This time was also the 4th best overall in the state, and the good news is, as a junior, she has the opportunity to do it all again next year as a senior. And accomplishments can only be done with the guidance and leadership of coaches, and so we'd also like to congratulate Coach Sarah Hurdell and recognize her as a state champion coach as well. So at this time, the podium is yours for any comments that you'd like to make.
I'm Jordan. Have to say it was really exciting to have us go down and run at state. You know, it doesn't happen that often, apparently. So, yeah, I mean, good luck to Harper in the next years to come.
I want to say thank you to Mr. Cinto for helping help me get to the invitationals, and thank you to Coach Chris Cole, Bob Contrell, Matt Heilman, for all the coaching advice they gave me throughout the season, and to Mr. Dahl with all the league meets, and to all my family members, my mom, my dad, Chris, my brother, Jordan, other family members, friends and family, for all the support. And it's been a really cool, crazy season, but it's overall been really fun.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go in the center.
You get in the back, Mr. Heller.
I'll be over there. Get you over there. She dressed up.
And before the family just runs away, I want to personally thank you guys all for coming. And as I know from Grandpa John Dodge, it's been a family event to go everywhere to see Harper run. And so it's the family support that makes the difference. So great job, guys. That's right.
You can stay and listen to Joe.
Joe's really worth staying for.
Yeah, everybody's got finals. Okay, we are on to item number 7B, which is a presentation of the Student Board Representative, Mr. Joe Brody.
Yes.
Please.
So as my audience dwindles, I see.
That's right.
No, but all of us here, and especially the students of St. Helena High School, are immensely proud of both of our runners. Really great to see students achieving such high levels in athletics. But moving right along, never stops. All right, we're starting at St. Helena High School. 2 big events. Student Congress. Student Congress is a student-run organization. They meet every quarter to grapple with student issues. The 2 main points that were brought out of Student Congress was define what does it mean to be a saint, really clarify saints culture, how it changes over the years as classes come in and classes leave, and then also addressing big areas of inequity, and these 2 action items kind of tied together, making school events more accessible while also increasing the number of school events. You can also see some beautiful artwork on display by the Art 1, 2, and 3 students. Moving on again, finals, that lovely time of the year. As you can see, the final schedule is listed up here. This year's schedule is a little different because there are half-an-hour crunch periods before each final exam. That's an opportunity for students to work together, answer any last-minute questions, any clarifying, and is the exact reason I will be excusing myself after student learning and achievement. Moving down to the RLS, lots going on there. It is the end of the second trimester, ended in November. Unlike the high school who works on semesters, RLS here is split up into 3 sections. Sports have also started, boys basketball and girls volleyball. There was also the winter band concert, which apparently, as I was told, was so large they had to move from one building, the multipurpose room, into the gym because of how large the program has gotten there. They also had a quite exciting. They also had a very special guest appearance, which isn't listed in this presentation, but students were able to meet with director Francis Ford Coppola, who directed the movie The Outsiders, written by S.E. Hinton. There was a Q&A, played some games, talked about the directing of the film and that process. Moving down to the St. Helena Elementary School, really exciting event for the month of October. Student Council put on a Socktober sock drive. The goal was to collect 150 pair of socks. They well exceeded that with 267 pairs of socks being donated to the South Napa Shelter, focusing all on the spirit of giving, season of giving, while also really focusing what it means to walk in someone else's shoes. Another whole plethora of exciting events, the Age of Sail field trip for the 5th graders, the mission trip for the 4th graders, and a showing of Matilda that was put on by Cafeteria Kids for the 3rd graders. Also some new clubs, and the winter garden is being harvested, and that food is being moved through the cafeteria as we speak. Now down to our littles at the primary school, super exciting stuff. Not the 7th graders, wow, those are some old primary school students. The 2nd graders put on a little friendship feast. Each 2nd grade class made a dish, brought it to the feast. There was some nice pumpkin pie. That was a big hit in Mrs. Swiger's 2nd grade class. All I heard about was the pumpkin pie. And then they also were doing some seasonal events throughout the week. I was able to read some stories with some students in Mrs. Swiger's class. Just talked about the season of giving. We read the story The Night Before Thanksgiving, which was a little play on the night before Christmas, which is super exciting. And they were also just doing a bunch of giving-related and turkey-related arts and crafts and activities. This was a quicker presentation, but are there any questions? Alrighty.
Thank you very much, Joe. Always enlightening. Very good. We're on to item 7C, which is a presentation by Community Leaders Coalition, CLC, on potential changes to the public charge rule. This is Jenny O'Connell. Nice to see you again.
Hello, good evening. Again, my name is Jenny O'Connell. I'm here on behalf of the Community Leaders Coalition. I'm also the executive director of the Up Valley Family Centers, and we are a member of the Community Leaders Coalition. And want to thank you for the opportunity to present today on important information that are impacting immigrant families and the challenges that they're facing due to some changes and proposed changes in the law. So today's presentation is going to address the public charge rule, primarily what it is, why it's important, the current status of the rule change, the chilling effect that proposed policy changes such as public charge have on immigrant families' health and well-being, impacts on families in your school district, and some recommendations. So the Community Leaders Coalition is a group of community-based organizations that gathered in 2016 in response to changing policy environment and a desire to advocate for community needs locally. The Community Leaders Coalition, or CLC, mobilizes community leaders to collectively advocate through civic engagement opportunities for the needs of vulnerable populations throughout Napa County. We currently have over 30 nonprofits, faith-based groups, local governments, and other community leaders involved in our chapters. We have 2 chapters, one up Valley and one in Napa and American Canyon. And some of the local CLC members in our area are the Up Valley Family Centers, Rionda House, and the League of Women Voters. So we're here specifically to talk about the proposed changes to the public charge rule and the chilling effect that the policy changes are having. So public charge is a test that is applied by immigration officials when someone is applied to become a legal permanent resident. The test is designed to identify people who may be likely to depend on the government as their main source of support and become a public charge. Factors are listed above or on the slides. If the government determines that somebody is likely to become a public charge, that could mean that they are denied admission to the United States if they're outside, or denied an access to a green card and lawful permanent residence. The new rule that was published this past August was intended to change which benefits are deemed, part of the public charge process. So you can see on this next slide some of the programs that are affected or not affected. And it can provide a lot of confusion. None of this rule has gone into effect yet. It's being tied up in the courts. And there's a fact sheet in your packet that goes into much more detail about which programs are affected and which programs are not affected, as well as who is considered and who is not considered. So just before the effective date was to go into effect, the federal judges granted preliminary injunctions, which have halted the formal implementation of the changes. The injunction still stands currently as legal challenges continue. So, as I mentioned, nothing's changed in the law yet. However, public charge is creating a chilling effect. One of the most damaging aspects is that it makes people fearful to access benefits and services in support of their health and well-being, regardless of whether the policies impact them. To date, public charge hasn't changed, but we know, for example, local social service and health organizations have experienced families not renewing health insurance that they qualify for. People being concerned about applying for programs such as free and reduced lunch and our holiday assistance programs. The proposed threats have significant potential to prevent thousands of local residents from using the programs that their tax dollars help support, preventing their access to healthy, nutritious food and secure housing. This loss of access to basic resources does not only affect immigrants, it affects people who live with immigrants, people who they may be sponsoring, or their U.S. citizen children. So in St. Helena, we looked at statistics of foreign-born and English language learners in this community and estimate that 1 in 5 students and 1 in 5 residents might be chilled from participating in programs that make their families healthier and stronger. So we're moving to the recommendations. Despite what might be happening at the federal level in regard to immigration policy, locally, we believe we need to come together to support the immigrant community and to focus on some local solutions. Based on the collective experience of CLC members in working with immigrant families, we've developed these recommendations. There's a few slides. So one is about access to accurate information. We want to make sure that families can make informed decisions. So we ask that the school district share our vetted messaging. This was messaging that we worked in partnership with the county on, about public charge and information about free and reputable services that can be consulted via your own information channels, for example, your website or newsletters or the school bulletin boards. Also asking the school district to provide families with specific information that free and reduced lunch will not affect their immigration status. And send home a letter to families letting them know where they can access information and resources that support their family's health and well-being. We have a template in your packets, and it's also translated into Spanish, not in your packets, but we'll make sure that you get a copy of that, just to make it easy to send out. Additional recommendations, we recommend training school staff who regularly interact with families about the public charge rule, but also about the chilling effect that rules such as this are having on our immigrant families. It would focus on how to better support immigrant families in a way that fosters trust and understanding, and we know staff have many demands on their time. Members of our coalition would be available to come to a staff meeting for whatever amount of time you may have, and we can talk through questions or provide some suggestions to staff. We are also asking that you consider documenting the chilling effect. We're doing that in a number of venues so that the information will help us support identifying and addressing growing unmet needs. So things like any drops in free and reduced school lunch programs, as well as increases in families who are housing challenged or student homeless rates. We're looking at those in a number of different places countywide. And then, despite access to information, families still may choose to disenroll in benefits or not seek essential services. We believe that this chilling effect is real. As a community, it includes school districts, local governments, nonprofits, faith-based leaders, and we believe that we can all do something together if we're watching what's happening. So we'd like to, we'll be inviting, creating a convening locally in early 2020, and we'll be inviting the school district to participate, and would love to have you there. So I just want to thank you for your time. I know there was a brief amount of time this evening, and I went through everything very quickly, but if you have any questions, please let me know, and thank you for your willingness to allow us to prevent on this important topic.
Thank you very much. Any public comment? Trustees, any questions or comments for our guest?
Thank you very much, Jenny, for sharing this with us. It's really important information, and I appreciate it. I know we all appreciate this.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you.
And actually, Jenny, I'm assuming that we can refer people directly to the Up Valley Family Center, and they can get these flyers as well.
Absolutely. They're
Okay.
also on our website.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
So our last presentation tonight is 7D, which is a move up of 12B. For those of you agenda followers out there quickly trying to figure out exactly what's happening, it is for the review and consideration approval of the 2018-19 audit report. And Miss Sandy Stubbs, please.
Thank you. I'm super happy to report that we had a fiscal year 2018-19 audit study done, and we did not have any findings this year. And that is due in a large part to the support from the site secretaries and district office support staff. And so it was definitely a team effort, and I'm very pleased to submit that to the board for consideration of approval.
Is there any questions or comments? Trustees, any questions or comments?
No, I left my confetti streamer at home, but yes, congratulations to you and your team. It's
Very
wonderful.
well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
President Conwell, if I could also simply add that over the course of the last 3 audits, 2 of them have been perfect, and 1 had a single finding that was a form, an outdated form. And so while we certainly are celebrating tonight this particular audit, I just want to celebrate our CBO's leadership and work with staff over time. It's really phenomenal. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the 2018-2019 audit report as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Joe, please cast your preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Lovely.
Once again, skipping around back to item 8A, we're at the annual organizational meeting of the Board of Trustees. And the St. Helena Unified School District Governing Board is required to hold an organizational meeting annually. During tonight's regular board meeting, the following items will be addressed, which is items B through F. So on to item B, which is the board to approve the board meeting calendar for 2020. Is there any public comment? Trustees, any questions or comments with the dates presented? Is there a motion to approve the 2020 board meeting calendar as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve. Sorry.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Joe, please cast your preferential vote.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We're on to 8C, which is election of board clerk. Is there a nomination for board clerk for the 2020, or actually starting tonight?
I would like to nominate Trustee Olguin for the clerk.
Is there anyone else that would for a nomination tonight? Is there a second on Trustee Olguin?
I'll make a second.
Joe, please cast your preferential vote.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Down to election of board vice president. Is there a nomination for board vice president?
I would like to nominate Lisa Pelosi.
Is there another nomination? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Joe, please cast your preferential vote.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We are down to election of the board president. Is there a nomination tonight?
I would like to nominate Trustee Haug.
Is there any other nominations tonight? Let's see. I know. Is there a second? I'm reading what's in here. I'm like, okay, we're good. All right, second. Is there a second?
I'll make a second.
All those in favor say aye. All right. Joe, would you like to cast a preferential vote tonight?
Aye.
Thank you very much. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried, and that takes us to a 5-minute break right now. Uh-oh.
Past President Conwell, would you take a look at item F?
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you.
Okay. This is supposed to be totally scripted, and we're just winging things right now. It's a good thing to step out. Anyway, item F is discuss and confirm the assignments for the Adopt a School program. Trustees, so I have a request, and it's going to be a little outrageous, but I have never been the RLS Adopt a School representative. So that would be my request.
I don't have a problem with that request. Trustee Howe, do you have a problem?
Well, that will be the position that I am vacating.
Convenient. Everybody else good with their
I'm
current
fine with that.
adoption?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
At this point, let's have a 5-minute break. I understand there is an amazing cake over there. Miss Tamara Sanguinetti over there has produced in honor of Andy's and the new president and the new vice president and the clerk for tonight. So let's take 5 minutes and then we'll reconvene. Thank you.
Trustee Conwell, do we get to publicly thank you for your leadership for the last 2 years?